Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, misery bots of all ages, back again with another video. This time we're listening to the MK REO podcast, one of my favorite Mortal Kombat podcasts, and they're basically talking about not only the disrespect of Mortal Kombat as a franchise, which I actually talked about in one of my earlier videos, the one from yesterday. Check it out. I'll try to link it in the descriptions below. But they also talk about just other stuff too, like the Mount Rushmore and stuff like that. So we're gonna go ahead, listen in, and give our 2 cents as they talk.
Welcome everybody to episode 63. Today I'm joined with James MK and Summoning. How are you guys doing?
What's up, man? Doing well.
We got some pretty interesting topics to talk about tonight. I guess
and definitely check out the channel MK REO. Let me just make sure y'all see it and everything. Definitely like and subscribe. It's called the REO MK podcast. Definitely check it out. He has almost 3,000 subscribers. Let's get that man over 3,000 subscribers. He's doing the Lord's work. He's doing the MK work. You know what I mean? He's one of the biggest. I would say he's one of the best MK podcasts, because not only does he has his opinion about MK, but he also brings in other people with different opinions. Like you do have like one of his hosts, which is Dave, MK Dave. You also have like Tom Brady, MK Tom Brady, and stuff like that. Neither of which are on this particular episode, but he did manage to get other vets of Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. So he's always bringing in like people who can speak on Mortal Kombat and give like different opinions on Mortal Kombat. So I would actually like to see him and like Lou Streets talk about Mortal Kombat too. Like I think it would be a cool podcast if they can like invite like people like Losty Girl and Lou Streets over to this podcast.
The first one, there was a topic started on Twitter by someone called the Vol Skimmer, Moonsault Slayer, and he tweeted a picture showing the Mount Rushmore of fighting game characters, and in it you had Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Ryu, and Chun-Li. And this call...
Now, for those who don't know, in my last video where I talked about like the FGC hates the Mortal Kombat franchise or something like that, Mortal Kombat franchise success, they had that picture. And I spoke about that picture. Now, it was Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Ryu, and Chun-Li. Now, Scorpion, yes, obviously, one of the most iconic fighting game characters of all time, with one of the most iconic video game lines of all time. Not just fighting game lines, one of the most iconic video game lines of all time, which is "Get Over Here." Then you have Ryu, yes, iconic Street Fighter character. I can understand why they have Chun-Li on there. Chun-Li being the most popular female fighting game character of all time. Like, I can't really think of another female character that is more popular than Chun-Li. Like, especially not in Mortal Kombat. I don't think Mortal Kombat has some very popular female characters like Melina and Katana, Jade. You know what I mean? None of them are more popular than Chun-Li. Neither of them are more popular than Chun-Li. So I can see why Chun-Li is in there. I'm kind of skeptical about, having multiple characters from, the same franchise. Like, for example, I wouldn't have put Scorpion and Sub-Zero on there. I wouldn't really put Ryu and Chun-Li on there, even though I can understand the Ryu and Chun-Li thing a little bit more because it's representation. You have like the female representation as well as the male representation. In terms of Sub-Zero, Sub-Zero's very popular. Don't get it twisted. He's the only Mortal Kombat character to be in every Mortal Kombat game. Him and Raiden, if I'm not mistaken, are like the two Mortal Kombat characters who have been in every Mortal Kombat game. Scorpion is still more popular than both Raiden and Sub-Zero. So I would definitely have Scorpion on there. And in terms of Sub-Zero, I would probably have put Heihachi on there, as Heihachi is probably one of the most iconic 3D fighting character on there. In terms of female 3D fighting characters, I would say the chick from Dead or Alive. I'm forgetting her name. I think it's something with a K, Kayusa, or something like that. She has like the blue dress, almost similar to like Chun-Li's. A lot of sex appeal. They had her in basically she was like the face of a lot of the Dead or Alive franchise games for the most part, like in the box cover of them, as well as like the spin-off games too, like the volleyball and stuff like that. So they definitely used her for her sex appeal, but that made her one of the more iconic characters in fighting games, in my opinion. But yeah, let's listen to them talk.
Was a ton of attraction. Like a lot of people started tweeting at it. They started commenting on it. Started going around. It exploded. It got over 1,000 retweets, almost 6K favorites, and it's been a huge topic that's been going circling around in the FGC. And there's been a lot of people going like, this is actually pretty good. And then on the other side, there's been a lot of people that are like, no, you're wrong. This shouldn't be in the Mount Rushmore. What about these other games? They're posting other Mount Rushmore saying this is more accurate. This is how it should be. And then when people saw that, they started engaging in that and going like, you got to be joking to not include a Mortal Kombat, to include, and they would say things like, who is the character even including? Like the sole bad guy from Guilty Gear. Some people would see that and be like, who is that? You cannot have Scorpion in a Mount Rushmore like that. What is your take on this? We'll start with summoning first.
All right, I'm gonna rewind this all the way back to arcade days. This is a topic that goes back literally 25 plus years. MK has never been, even though.
First of all, Scorpion not being in the Mount Rushmore of fighting games is absolutely insane. He's one of the most iconic fighting game characters of all time. Like, my mother knows who Scorpion is. My 62-year-old mother knows who Scorpion is. Now, she doesn't know what game he's from. She doesn't know anything about the character outside of how he looks and that he's the one that says, come here. She says, come here. He actually says, get over here. But, she'd be like, he's the one that says, come here, right? Like, my 62-year-old mother knows who Scorpion is. So that's absolutely ridiculous.
I will let Jimmy get into the sales and the numbers and all that stuff. Okay? I'm talking about strict.
So that's the picture that they were talking about. It's the Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Ryu, and Chun-Li. I would probably put Hayachi in place of Sub-Zero. If I was to take out Chun-Li to limit it to like one character per particular franchise, and if they did want, let's say, a female character, I would put the girl from Dead or Alive here. I gotta learn her name, bro. Like, I gotta figure out what her name is, but and I think it's something with the K, but I gotta figure out her name. But yeah,
skill, and it's a very controversial topic. Okay, when we were younger, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat would be in two separate parts of the arcade. They would never be together in any arcade we'd go to. A few of them were small, and they would have, the cabinets next to each other. Neither here nor there. The Street Fighter guys would never play MK and vice versa. And our guys were the MK guys. And I would always get shit for talking to everybody in the arcade. All the Street Fighter people, all the virtual fighter people, whatever. Because I just like people, And the consensus was that MK has no skill. It's a low-skilled, tiny game that has huge following, but they don't want to play it because it's not the skill of Street Fighter or whatever. And this has been the argument since day one. Nobody who plays those games, they don't go near it, MK. Look at it today even. Sonic Fox tried to venture over to Street Fighter. What happened there? You know what I mean? So that's why these guys, they don't give MK respect. MK doesn't get any respect because it's just a trash game with a easy gameplay, and it's a simple game.
Kasumi, that's her name. Kasumi. I knew it started with a K. I just couldn't remember her name. Kasumi is, I would say, if we're not gonna put Chun-Li, I would say Kasumi. Like, if we're doing like one character per like fighting game franchise, I would say Kasumi. This character is very iconic. Like, people may not even know what game she's from, but they know this particular character. Maybe not in this outfit. Maybe not in this outfit, but if they put like her iconic outfit on her, then they will know. As well as Ryu Hayabusa. Like, he's pretty iconic as well. But if we're doing one per franchise, like, she's probably more recognizable to the casual market. You know what I mean? Obviously, Chun-Li is the most, in terms of females, she is the most iconic female character. Like, everybody knows who Chun-Li is, just like everybody knows who Ryu and Scorpion and Hayachi is. But if we're only going to do one per fighting game franchise, I would pick her, Kasumi. I would pick Kasumi because, like, I can't really think of, like, I know Virtual Fighter. I would say Virtual Fighter in terms of 3D fighting games is probably the second most popular virtual fighting game, but
Game they don't play.
I can't think of
So I
people
will.
from like
And
Virtual
I'm
Fighter.
being an MK guy. I have to agree with that. I mean, it's going to be a hard take for MK guys to hear, but I've been there since day one, and Street Fighter's way harder. Way, and it's always been dissed by the top people. MK is like the freaking clean it up boy. It always has been. But they got the numbers, which Jimmy will tell you. So it's a really weird topic.
I mean, the problem with it is we're talking about Mount Rushmore. And when we're talking about Mount Rushmore, what is the definitions to put something on Mount Rushmore? Is it popularity, character relations, gameplay, overall sales? You know, there's so many different variables that have to be accounted for in order for something to even make it on Mount Rushmore. You know, since the inception of fighting games since Street Fighter 2, the pecking order has been Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, then all the Neo Geo games. As far as the skill level slash skill gap, you know, it's apples and oranges. You know, the games are designed intentionally different. You know, when they decided to do Injustice, which was basically a sort of clone of Mortal Kombat to a degree, they removed the block button. The block button.
So yeah, Dead or Alive is actually top 10 most best selling fighting games franchises of all time. Actually beats out the UFC, which is crazy. Virtual Fighter is actually underneath it, even though Virtual Fighter is one of the original 3D fighting games. I think Virtual Fighter is one of the first 3D fighting games out, but yeah, somewhere along the lines, like Dead or Alive has actually outsold it and become more popular. Hence the reason they have like 6 Dead or Alive games, whereas Virtual Fighter only has like 5. Not only that, like Dead or Alive also has like a shit ton of like spin-offs, because they had like Virtual Fighters volleyball and stuff like that. And now this, I don't know how accurate this order is, because if I'm not mistaken, I thought Tekken actually outsold Street Fighter. I thought Tekken was like above Street Fighter in terms of sales, but yeah, I gotta. Either way, Dead or Alive
It was the
is
biggest
up
thing
there
people used to
in terms of
complain about
sales.
back in the day. I never I never understood why they complained about it. Holding back to block versus a block button. You know, to me, it was such a stupid thing to argue about.
It was a huge topic, though. I remember that one too. Huge.
You know, why does it have a block button? I don't know. Why do you got punch buttons? You know, the button's instilled for a certain purpose to block fucking attacks. You know, the fact that you could do a cross up, you know, and your big gotcha moment in Street Fighter is catching a guy holding back the block on a cross up and him not switching it over and getting opened up that way. That, you know, that and then canceling out projectiles. That was the two biggest things that Street Fighter players complained about when it came to Mortal Kombat back in the day. And personally, I don't think they should cancel each other out. They should, you know, they should be forced to react to one and interact with one another. You know, and if I throw a fireball at you and you throw an ice ball at me, it shouldn't turn to water and just cancel out. One hits, the other hits. You got to react to them. Now, as far as combos go, I believe Mortal Kombat back in the day.
Hey, and in this chart that I'm showing right now, the highest selling fighting games, is one of the most recent, and it's individual fighting games, not so much like as a franchise. They have Mortal Kombat at 4 now, and that's because the last reported numbers for MK11 is 15 million. Mind you, the one right above it is 15.2, and then right above that, which is second place, Street Fighter 2, is 15.5. I and this was as of like 2024. I guarantee that Mortal Kombat 11 has actually surpassed like Smash Bros. I don't know, was that DS/Wii, the one that's 15.2? I guarantee you that Mortal Kombat 11 has actually outsold that, as well as Street Fighter 2. Mortal Kombat 11, and I'm almost positive, and I'm willing to bet some money that Mortal Kombat 11 is the second best selling fighting game of all time. So, but back to the video. Sorry.
Had a higher skill gap to do good combos. Not spear uppercut, but like, punch, punch, teleport, spear uppercut. Versus Street Fighter, you land a heavy roundhouse into a standing fierce, into a dragon punch, it's automatic. You're going to get it as long as you hit the first one. I never liked that. I've always liked combos based off of free falling versus you standing still getting punished for not blocking one. It's just, to me, it never played well to me. Now I'm not,
The Street Fighter combos are way harder, dude. I still can't do them. I've been playing for 30 years.
That's a you thing.
Bro.
Dude, if you can't do Street Fighter combos, dude, you're just not a gamer, bro. Like that's I mean, they have like, since Street Fighter 5, if I'm not mistaken, they literally have tutorials to show you how to do combos with each character. You just gotta practice it. They're difficult. They're not as easy. Well, then again, I won't even say like Mortal Kombat combos are easy. Yes, they have like actual inputs to do specific combos, but if you want to optimize those combos and like cancel certain strings into other strings to make more damage, which is what you would do in Street Fighter as well, like it's not as complicated as just watching a tutorial or playing a tutorial that the in-game tutorial. Like, because a lot of these fighting games, in order to get out some of the more complex combos, you have to like cancel strings. You have to cancel strings into like specials that are going to then go into other strings. Same thing with Mortal Kombat. Like, if you want to do a combo with like Raiden, you probably have to do like his back 1-2 into like Storm Cell. I'm talking about Mortal Kombat 11, by the way. Back 1-2 into Storm Cell, into like another combo, into like ending it off with like another special move and stuff like that, or Fatal Blow, or whatever you want. And it's going to be the same thing with like Street Fighter, like with Street Fighter 6, actually playing Ed. Like, I can combo into, let's say, my snatcher, my EX snatcher or whatever, and then that goes into some other combos that then ends with whatever I want, whether that be like a special, an ultimate, or like another super move. So
that's
Bro,
a you thing. I've
seriously,
never had problems.
I could do a 3-hit combo. I'm not talking about those. And by the way, you have to do all those 3 hits. You have to do them all. You have to hold down. You have to do an uppercut motion. This shit
you
is
got to
easy.
do that in Mortal Kombat too, though. So I don't know what he's talking about.
It really depends on the Street Fighter game you're talking about, because some of them, like I know Third Strike has the just frame links, Street Fighter 4 has a lot of just frame links. So it depends on which one you're talking about. But if you're comparing, like, I guess the first Street Fighter with the first Mortal Kombat, the new Mortal Kombat has bigger juggles. But I think
you talking about Street Fighter 1?
Yeah, like if you compare the early ones. But I think
that shit was, that wasn't.
Yeah, but I think starting with Street Fighter 2, they started adding some sequences and links you could do, which were more difficult.
Very hard.
But yeah, but Street Fighter was never really a game where you're doing like, with like MK, you're doing like 20, 30 hit combos that last like 20 seconds. That I don't think they started doing that until later on. Like, I want to say like until what? Street Fighter 3 Alpha and then Third Strike when they started doing that?
Yeah. Yeah, 3 and Alpha is when they started to make bigger juggle combos.
There's hard ass combos to do in those games, man. There's in MK, you can play every character and do combos with them. You cannot do that in Street Fighter. No way. There's no chance that you can. I'll give you a character right now in Street Fighter 3. You can't do combos. That's what Street Fighter's always been more skilled. Always has.
How?
The combos, the weighting system, the way it's a really skilled finesse game. It is. We used to go to Chinatown Fair, man. We used to watch these guys play. They sit there and they don't even jump. They don't even move. It's really skilled. Street Fighter is really skilled. It always has been. MK is really easy. You can't. I'm not saying you're going to be great at the game. You're going to lose too to great players in MK. Of course you are. But I'll give you any character in those games. You could do combos with them. You can't do them in Street Fighter. We can go through the cast. I'll give you log in.
I would say probably
hard,
I would say probably Third Strike's harder to play than UMK3, but UMK3 does have some
Hell
really
yeah.
difficult stuff. It really depends on which characters you're talking about. But I would say like the hardest character to play in UMK3 at the highest level, probably either Cabal or Ermac or Reptile. But then when you look at the Third Strike characters that are hard to play, like Yun, I think Yun is a lot harder to link stuff with and know what you're doing exactly. So
Oh,
I'd
man,
have to give the edge to I'd have to give the edge to Third Strike over UMK3. And UMK3 is one of the hardest Mortal Kombat games to play, like along with Trilogy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you could
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
and then you could do.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're saying like the Street Fighter is so hard, and like Mortal Kombat isn't easy either. You know what I mean? Like, yes, they have combo strings that you can do, but if you want to optimize your combos and shit like that, if you want to get like bigger damage, it's far more complex than that, because you got to figure out like which combos you can do, which are going to be your best combo strings, first of all. Then once you figure that out, you got to figure out when to be able to like cancel out your combo strings into like special moves that's going to allow you to juggle the character to a point where you can then do another combo strings into juggle. Like, that's why like you have people whose combos are so swaggy, like Rain and Fujin and MK11, because like they gotta constantly cancel their moves. They gotta constantly cancel their moves, their strings into like specials in order to, you know, get those swaggy ass combos.
You could even do punch down high punch and get a, you know, and just like jump kick. Okay, that's anyone can do that. Anybody.
Whereas in, especially like in Street Fighter 6, but it's in other Street Fighter games as well, where you can actually mash the light button into combos. Like you can like mash like 1-1 into like, especially with Ken, you can like mash 1-1 into like other combos, into like a drive rush into like combos and stuff like that.
Back forward low kick, then run up to the character, punch, you know, uppercut, and anyone can do that. You cannot do that in Street Fighter.
Yes, you can.
You can't.
Yes, you can. You can do that. I can do that with Ed. With Ed, I can do my light punch with my 1-1 into his like, I forget what he calls it, but into his special move, into like an ultimate, and delete like 30% of your health. Like you can absolutely do that in Street Fighter. I don't know what he's talking about.
You cannot just combo every time. And that Street Fighter is way harder.
No, almost every hit you do in Street Fighter, you can combo into something. That's not the case. That's not so much the case with Mortal Kombat. But in Street Fighter, yes. Almost every hit you can do, you can combo into something. Whether it do a lot of damage or not, that's a different story. But yeah, no, he's tripping.
Way harder.
Yeah, honestly, the hardest thing in UMK3 is doing the relaunches with Human Smoke and Ermac. Those are just frames. Those are really hard to do.
That's timing and stuff. I mean, that's doable though. It's one button. You know what I mean? It's timing. But like Street Fighter requires like tons of different, when you come in with different moves, different depends on how far the jump is. It depends on what's gonna link.
That's the same thing with Mortal Kombat.
Yes, it is.
Kind of like dial.
No, it's not.
Listen,
no, it's not.
To know like a jump kick versus a deep jump kick. You know, there's that variable's in there. But what my point about it is it's not about whose combos are harder versus not. Reality is this. If Mortal Kombat people can't play Street Fighter, that's on them. I could play every fucking game. You know, and
that's we got to get out of that stereotype, bro. We got to get out of that stereotype, because I'm somebody who's a Mortal Kombat player and I play Street Fighter. Street Fighter is my second favorite fighting game of all time. You know what I mean? So like, we got to get out of that, bro. We got to get out of that mentality, because that's just, it's not true. And it's always been the case. Like Street Fighter 2 was great. I enjoyed Street Fighter 2. I preferred Mortal Kombat 1. But I still play Street Fighter. And throughout, since the 90s, since Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat's been out, I've always played Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. So like after Street Fighter 2, I didn't go into like Third Strike or anything like that. I went into the Alpha series, which I thought the Alpha series was great. Like I enjoyed the Alpha series, particularly Alpha 2 and Alpha 3. And then with Mortal Kombat, I played Mortal Kombat, 2, 3. I played Mortal Kombat 4. I played all of the Mortal Kombat games actually, with the exception of some of like the spin-off joints like Jack Special Forces, and I don't think I played the Shaolin Monks one, but I played all of the Mortal Kombat games, Mortal Kombat 4, Deadly Alliance. Like, Mortal Kombat is my main fighting game and all that, but I still played Street Fighter, you know what I mean? Like, I still played Street Fighter 2. I still played Street Fighter Alpha 2, Street Fighter Alpha 3. I played Street Fighter EX. Did I play 1? I don't remember if I played Street Fighter EX 1, but I definitely played Street Fighter EX 2. I remember Skullomania and stuff like that. I played Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4 is great. I enjoyed Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, Street Fighter 6. Like, I've played these games. I didn't play so much the Street Fighter versus Tekken game. I didn't really care about that, honestly speaking. But I played Street Fighter 4 because you're gonna play your main fighting game. You're gonna play the most of, which Mortal Kombat is my main fighting game. I played all of the Mortal Kombat game. Street Fighter is my second main fighting game. I have not played all of the Street Fighter games. I did play Street Fighter 3. I did play it. I did not like Street Fighter 3. Contrary to what the FGC will have you believe, I did not like Street Fighter 3. Most people did not like Street Fighter 3, hence the reason Street Fighter 3 flopped. For those who don't realize that in the FGC, Street Fighter 3 flopped because most people didn't like Street Fighter 3. Yes, it has like a cult following now, but the game wasn't that good to the masses and still isn't that great to the masses. So yeah, like they gotta stop. Like, people who play Street Fighter, I know people whose preferred game is Street Fighter and their second game is Mortal Kombat. Like my boy Straight Nasty. Straight Nasty, he's primarily Street Fighter. He would prefer to play a Street Fighter game before any other fighting game. But if he is going to play another fighting game, it's Mortal Kombat. And me and him has played Mortal Kombat 11 on several occasions. I actually told him not to buy Mortal Kombat 1 because Mortal Kombat 1 I don't think he'll like at all. But yes, and he's also played like MKX as well as MK9. So they got to stop with that, bro. They got to stop with that. Like, just because you play, like, nah, because I'm good. I would say I'm equally as good in Mortal Kombat as I am in Street Fighter 6. So, yeah, they got to chill with that.
Are you as good at it?
Yes.
And I know you for a long time. So are you as good at Street Fighter as you are as an MK?
Yes, I am.
No, because I put more time into MK.
Okay, so if I tell you to put let's play Third Strike every day for the next couple years, you may not do it, whatever, but you think you're going to be as good?
I could say that right now for Tekken 8. Just because I don't go around touting my horn, I'm good in Tekken 8. I make people rage quit on me. But again, it's the amount of time that you put in on it. I've played with, a lot of the top. I mean, shit, I was playing alphas with F Champ, and he was amazed I even knew what the fuck I was doing. He was like, "Holy shit, you could play Dalsim?" I said, "Oh yeah, you all thought I was just a Mortal Kombat guy." No, now today's people have a tendency to stay with one game. And they don't venture off.
Today's people don't venture off because, well, they have a lot of hate for MK too. You should not be able to like MK, dude. You remember this shit. You remember this shit in the arcades.
I know people didn't like it. I know people didn't like it.
Never come over and just hang out with us. That would never happen.
Yeah, well,
It started back then.
Regarding what James said earlier about the Mount Rushmore, like what exactly is it based on? Like the whole variables? What the criteria that this guy was ranking it for, he said this is the Mount Rushmore of fighting game characters. So who are the most popular? When you think fighting games, characters come to your mind. And in it, he had Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Ryu, and Chun-Li. I think that's pretty accurate. Like
I would go Ryu and Ken.
Ryu and Ken, definitely.
And then Chun-Li would be the number 3 for them.
Yeah, I probably agree with that because Ryu and Ken is you kind of need the other. Because Ken is like the counterpart to Ryu, right?
Yes.
Kind of like how Sub-Zero is a counterpart to Scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now, if we would see now the Heihachi and I don't know, maybe
Kazuya is
I'm
really
trying,
popular.
and I guess Kazuya. Again, they're I guess they're going to be the opposites as well. Obviously for uh, Guilty Gear, Sal the bad guy. But he wouldn't even make it on the list, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's the most popular character from Guilty Gear, but I don't think more people know him compared to Mortal Kombat, Scorpion and Sub
Correct.
Zero, and
Yeah, that's
Ryu and
true. I
Ken
know
and
I know
Chun Li.
nothing about the other games, so I agree with you guys there.
When you get into a Mount Rushmore, you also got to gauge it on the people that are looking in. Like, if you're going to say where the average Joe knows and heard of these people, that's versus just FGC people knowing. Like, FGC people know who Jackie is in Virtual Fighter,
Yeah,
but a
that's
regular
the chick with
random
blonde
dude
hair,
on the
right?
street. No, Jackie's the brother.
Oh, okay. Who
Sarah,
was I
Sarah's
thinking? Oh, I was thinking of Sarah.
Sarah. But it's like FGC people might know that, but the average Joe on the street never heard of it. Average Joe on the street don't know Ichiru from fucking Samurai Showdown.
Damn, I don't even know that
You
character,
know,
man. I'm not gonna lie. I have not touched somebody's fighting games, so some of the names are new to me.
but
We
it's
should
like,
bring that up too. You don't, for example, Rio. Sorry to interrupt you. You don't play Street Fighter, do you?
I
Or any of these other games?
honestly, the only Street Fighter game I like is Third Strike, and I don't even play it.
Really?
I really only play Mortal Kombat games.
I mean, Third Strike. Street Fighter 6 is really good. Like, he should try out Street Fighter 6. It's not perfect. Like, the drive system is extremely annoying. I will say that. Drive Rush, Drive Impact. Yes, it's very annoying, but overall it's a really good fighting game. I will say that Street Fighter 6 is really good.
Okay, so
I know some
this is
characters
like
from
this
some
is
fighting games. Like I know some of the characters from KI. I know some of the characters from Street Fighter, obviously. I know some of the characters
well
from Tekken.
this is kind of why now like because you don't venture off because maybe none of your friends play the game. I don't know why. Maybe you just I don't know what it is. The MK we stay to our own like sides. I was always the person who went to all sorts of games to find the game, but I've never been as good as anybody in these games. I'm just a casual player who's been around forever. I suck at everything though. But I do admit that I play other games, and I do admit that Street Fighter's way more skilled than MK. No one like none of the MK guys really like to hear that. So the fact, so my question is, besides the fact that you haven't played him and stuff, why did
I gotta hit up straight, bro. I gotta hit up my guy straight and find out, because like they're saying like Street Fighter requires far more skill than Mortal Kombat. But why? Like, what is it about Street Fighter that requires far more skill than Mortal Kombat? Is it because it's a 6-button system as opposed to like a 4-button system? Is that what it is? Like, what is it about Street Fighter that requires far more skill than Mortal Kombat? So that's what I'm curious about.
why didn't you play those games? For what?
In fact, I'm about to
What was the
text straight
reason?
right now. I don't even know if he's
Probably
awake.
because I was playing Mortal Kombat, and the time I wanted to play, it would focus on Mortal Kombat over other games. There was a time I wanted to get into Tekken 7 also. I played Tekken 7 briefly when they released Negan. I played him for a while. Then they ended up going to going back to Mortal Kombat. Really, I would say because I like Mortal Kombat the most as a fighting game. I think it has the coolest characters in my opinion out of any fighting game. I do wish they would step up their game in terms of, gameplay, making the games harder to play. But it's not to say that all the Mortal Kombat are very easy to play. There's hard things you can find in a lot of Mortal Kombat games that I'm sure other people from other fighting games would have to sit down and practice to get them down. Like if you have one of them
Not
try to
not
play.
very easy to play, but easier to play. Big difference. Easier to just get a.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
Like, okay,
it depends on the character really.
well. Okay, the B and B. There's B and Bs for every single character in Street Fighter. I guarantee you guys can't do them. Like you could practice all you want to. You gotta do it
What?
situational.
What? The
MK,
B and B,
just do 'em.
the bread and butter in the bread and butter in Street Fighter is super easy. What is he talking about? Like, the bread and butter is as easy, if not easier, than the bread and butter in Mortal Kombat. Like, what is he talking about?
You can just do them. It's so much harder in Street Fighter. So
Now
much,
my thing
so much
is,
harder.
my thing is, and again, referring to what you're saying, and I'm going to be the Dave in the room this time. What the fuck does that have to do with being on the Mount Rushmore?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you why.
A
Because
game being harder doesn't garner it the respect of being on a Mount Rushmore. You want a hard game?
Facts.
Get through
Facts.
3
He's
levels on
spitting.
Pit Fighter. Harder than all of them.
He's spitting.
King of Fighters too. Really freaking tough.
Or King of Fighters. There's
man.
tons of games that are harder. Every SNK game is harder in the past to.
Facts. He's spitting. He's spitting, like, because, like, Street Fighter, good game or whatever. It's not the hardest fighting game to play, though. It's not.
But MK
Far from it.
got a lot of hate. MK gets a lot of hate. That's the thing. It doesn't gain the respect of these like top guys who are making the money, going to these events. These big only Sonic Fox. He's the only MK guy that who's like up there. You know what I mean? And he doesn't even play Street Fighter.
Yeah, Sonic.
But I mean, come on now, come on. Like, you're bringing in Sonic Fox, right? And yes, Sonic Fox has been dominant in the NetherRealm community. Let's not just say Mortal Kombat, the NetherRealm community, because he's also won in Injustice, but he's also won in other games like Squirrel Girl and stuff like that. I think he also won in something else. Was it Dragon Ball Fighters? I forget. He's won in something else as well. I can't remember. But then you have something like Tekken, right? You have Arslan Ash in Tekken. Arslan Ash is only known for being good in Tekken. Like, he's been dominated in Tekken for years now. But nobody gives him shit. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see him actually, like, winning in other fighting games that I'm aware of. Like, I don't ever see him winning in Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I don't see him winning in, like, Smash Brothers or any of those other games. Like, he only is, like, dominating in Tekken. But, like, he doesn't get the same shit. Like, you look at people like Punk and Mena RD and Taquito and Daigo and all that, and they're dominant in Street Fighter, but you don't really see them winning in a lot of other joints like Mortal Kombat or Tekken or anything like that. Like, come on now, like, what are you saying with that whole Sonic Fox joint? Like, Sonic Fox, like, it's even more of a credit to Sonic Fox that he's not only winning in Mortal Kombat, but he's also winning in other fighting games too, like Squirrel Girls? I think not Squirrel Girls. I forget. I think it's Squirrel Girls or some shit like that. As well as, I want to say it was Dragon Ball Fighters or some shit like that. I can't remember the other game that he's won championship in. Whereas a lot of the other people you want to compare him to has only really won in the game that they play.
Sonic's very skilled because Sonic has won like massive majors and evils in other Mortal Kombat games. Like, he's done it in Skullgirls, Dragon Ball Z. So he's kind of the exception.
Dragon Ball Fighters.
Sonic has proven himself in other games. But I'm sure there's been other Mortal Kombat players that have done that too. Like, other Mortal Kombat players that have won evos and giant majors in other games that started out with Mortal Kombat.
I don't think so.
Honestly. Well, look at it this way.
I want to say Tekken Master is another. But I'm not 100% sure about Tekken Master.
Like Justin, Punk, all these other guys tried to come over to Injustice.
Yes, like, what have they won outside of, like, Street Fighter?
And Mortal Kombat and Injustice, they didn't do well. So what's their excuse?
They did well in the beginning.
They never won nothing. They never won nothing.
Just someone did win
MK9.
Just someone did win PDP for MK9.
PDP. That's like the week after it came out.
Then they stopped playing.
After a few months of MK9 being out, or a year, it became really hard to compete in that game or any NRS game because you have to go up against the people that know the gimmicks, know matchups. They play the game a lot, and that's when you see the players that cross over in NRS games. They tend to stop playing the game, or they don't do as good anymore because now they can't keep up anymore because the Mortal Kombat players have leveled up so much in their game. But in the beginning, yeah, they did win a few tournaments. I guess if you mean to say like you don't see our players going to other games and winning tournaments in the beginning, like you see other people sometimes doing that for Mortal Kombat games. But now that's actually a lot. You don't even see that anymore with the newer NRS games.
No.
In the beginning
Nobody,
of MK1, it was
nobody
really
crosses
just
over.
yeah. And I want to say this. So regarding the whole Mount Rushmore thing, do you think it's fair to have two Mortal Kombat characters and two Street Fighter characters, or should it be one character from the four most popular fighting games?
One
I
per.
would say one of each.
Yeah, one
I
per
would say
franchise.
one
I would
of
say one
each,
per franchise.
because this way it'll give you an avenue to put a couple of unsung heroes. So it would obviously the number 1 and 2 would be Ryu and Scorpion.
Now, who do you think is more
That's
popular between Scorpion and Ryu? This is probably a hard one.
I
This
would
is tough.
have to go with Scorpion. The reason I would go with Scorpion is because Midway Acclaim and anybody else that's had marketing power had pushed it more as a name than I think Ryu.
In the
They'll
US, definitely.
but
What about you, Summoning?
Uh, the two biggest games is more MK and Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So I was
but
saying the
regarding
two characters
Scorpion
each.
and Ryu, who do you think should be?
I would say it's probably Scorpion as well, because I know I'm friends with Jim for a long time. I've learned a lot about the advertising and all that stuff and what they did to push the game. So Scorpion in the US for sure.
Yeah,
sure. And the US
I would
has,
say I have to agree. I would say Scorpion probably the most well known in USA and
Mhm.
probably South America, maybe Canada and areas like that. But I think in Asia, like in Japan and stuff, Ryu is known way more than Scorpion. So
Yes.
worldwide,
Maybe.
I think,
Maybe.
worldwide, who is the most popular fighting game ever? Worldwide, the edge may go to Ryu over Scorpion.
might be.
That's a tough
Everybody knows
decision.
him. Even in here in the USA soil, where MK is the most popular, Ryu is probably more popular than Scorpion in terms of at least FGC. So even in Mortal Kombat's home turf, Ryu's up there, and then everywhere else around the world.
No, Ryu is not
Yeah,
more
that's-
popular than Scorpion.
I could agree
That's
with
cap.
that.
No, why would you agree with
I
that?
could agree
Also,
with that.
correct me if
Why
I'm
would you
wrong,
agree with that?
MK is
Why would you agree with that? Like Mortal Kombat 11 has sold well over 15 million units with Scorpion on the fucking cover. Street Fighter 5 and 6, I think Street Fighter 5 is I think the best selling one so far, and that's like close to 10 million, if not 10 million. Street Fighter 6 is approaching, this is about 6-7 million at this point. So why would they say like Ryu is more popular than Scorpion? Mind you, Scorpion's on the cover of Mortal Kombat 11. Like, why? That doesn't make any sense to me. Does not make it. And on top of that, they've had movies. Like Mortal Kombat has had movies. You know what I mean? So you had the Mortal Kombat movie that came out, which although Scorpion wasn't the star of it, Scorpion was the most appealing thing. The Scorpion and Sub-Zero fights was the most appealing fights and the best fights in that Mortal Kombat movie that came out. The one that came out in what, 2021, 2022? I can't remember exactly what year it came out, but the new reboot one. And then you also have like the animated Mortal Kombat movies, like Scorpion's Revenge, which he is the main star in that particular movie. So like, why? Like, when was the last time Street Fighter had a movie? When was the last time Street Fighter really had an animated movie that really popped? Like, what are you talking about? In the West? Like, come on, what are you talking about? Like, there's a reason why the Get Over Here line is the most popular line in gaming. Like, everybody knows what that means. If you say, what major character says, get over here, everybody who plays video game will know Scorpion. But if you say, what major character says, Hadouken, like, you may get mixed answers on that. You may get Akuma. You may get Ken. You may get, what other character says Hadouken? Goken. Like, you may get you may not get Ryu every time, even though Hadouken is Ryu's signature move. There's so many people who do Hadoukens in the Street Fighter franchise. You may not like somebody, if you say that to somebody, they may not immediately associate that with Ryu. Whereas Get Over Here, you can't associate it with nobody else but Scorpion. So what do y'all then?
You know, us, North America, whatever. The Tekken is Europe, and Street Fighter is all that side. So yeah, so that's like three different zones, let's say. I would give the edge to Ryu worldwide, but definitely overwhelming Scorpion in the US.
Yeah, I wonder in Africa if Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat's more popular. And I think in Australia, Mortal Kombat was banned for a while. So
banned,
that
yeah.
It was. It might still be banned,
probably
actually.
hampered Scorpion being above Ryu there. Yeah, you know what? I would have to say, I guess the most popular fighting character overall, which would be the most, probably Ryu, and then after that, it's definitely Scorpion.
No, it's definitely Scorpion then Ryu. Granted, Scorpion is banned in some of those Asian countries, so like yes, Ryu is probably top above Scorpion in those Asian regions. But any region where you have like, you know, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter in that particular region, and it's like Mortal Kombat's like not like banned or anything like that, then no, it's Scorpion. it's definitely Scorpion.
I would go with Heihachi.
Heihachi is definitely number 3.
I think he's the most popular from Tekken.
Yes, he is.
He's the staple.
He's definitely the staple, and it's the reason why he's on the cover of almost every Tekken game. Like, yes, it's him.
He's the fucking old man that never actually dies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's.
You know, you killed the kids, but bring them back. You know, kill the grandkid, bring them back. Now you got daughters and stepdaughters and all this other, but he's been the one constant.
Yeah,
yep.
He's been there since the first Tekken. Damn, but it's kind
yes,
of
sir.
hard. I feel like for Kazuya, he may be more popular than Heihachi, even though.
Well, you got, in terms of story relevance, you do have like Kazuya and Jin and stuff like that. But that's the same thing with Mortal Kombat. Like with Mortal Kombat, in terms of story relevance, like Scorpion is not relevant to the Mortal Kombat story at all, for the most part. Like Raiden is far more relevant to the story. You have Liu Kang that's far more relevant to the story. People like Johnny Cage is far more relevant to the story. But that doesn't change the fact that Scorpion still is the most popular character. Same thing with Ryu. Like in terms of a lot of Street Fighter games, like Ryu's not that relevant to the story, with the exception of like him coming in at the end to defeat like Bison or something like that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the times the story, especially like when you think of like the Alpha series, you think of like the Third Strike, even in Street Fighter 4, like Ryu's not even the main character in Street Fighter 4, 5, or even 6. He's not. He's a background character in each of those games. Street Fighter 4, I think the main character was Abel. Street Fighter 5, the main character was, I forget who the main character was. Ryu was one of the main characters. He wasn't the main character up until the end where he actually defeats Bison. And in Street Fighter 6, I think it's like Jamie and Luke that are like one of the main characters amongst the main characters in Street Fighter 6. So like in terms of story relevance, like even like it doesn't matter. Like in terms of story relevance in Tekken, like Heihachi isn't really the main character in terms of story relevance anymore. Not since Tekken 7, because like supposedly they had the whole situation with him and Akuma and stuff like that. Jin and Kayuya, or whatever, I forget his name, has been far more relevant story wise in Tekken. But doesn't change the fact that Heihachi is the face of Tekken. He is the most recognizable and most popular, maybe not most popular, but most recognizable character in Tekken. He's one of the most popular characters in Tekken. Just like Scorpion and Ryu are amongst the most popular character, doesn't necessarily mean that they are the most popular character. Because like Sub-Zero is up there with Scorpion. like Scorpion might be the most popular character in Mortal Kombat. Sub-Zero is definitely a close second. Like a close second. And same thing with Ryu. Ryu might be the most popular character in Street Fighter, but then you have Ken and Akuma, who are definitely a close second and third, like very close second and third, if they're not above them. So yeah, like I don't know what they're talking about that with that. Yes, it's
Hayachi's
definitely
been around
Hayachi.
longer.
It's
I
definitely
feel like
Hayachi.
Kazuya has such a massive fan base, the people that know him. He's kind of become like,
But again, it's again when we're talking about the characters of, I mean, I think, is it impactful for the franchise, or is it just playing outright popularity? I mean, if it's impactful, I mean, the fucking dude throws his own son into a volcano. You know, it can't get any more fucked up than that. You know, so it's like, on this Mount Rushmore, we already established. Let's just establish Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken. You know, those are the three most popular games slash lead characters. You know, because like I said, like Ryu is the lead, Scorpion kind of is the lead, even though Liu Kang's kind of supposed to be. Um,
Raiden.
and then the whole Hachi family drama. I would go with Hachi only because he's the one that it centers around.
yeah, that's a fair point. I guess you'd have to ask Tekken players how they feel. Like, who is like the face of Tekken? It's probably going to come down between Hayachi or Kazuya.
Not really a question you would ask a Tekken player. You would actually have to ask like the casuals, like who do they know from Tekken? It's gonna be Hayachi. Hayachi is usually the face of the franchise. He's usually on the cover of the Tekken games. Like he's gonna be the one that they recognize. It's not so much like because if you come to a Mortal Kombat character, they may not say Scorpion. Like Scorpion, in terms of like plot relevance, is not he's not the best in terms of plot relevance. Same thing with Ryu. Like, but they're on there because the casuals know who they are, and you gotta apply that same concept to Tekken as well. In terms of like Jin and Kaiusia, they're probably more popular to the Tekken community, but in terms of the casuals, Hayachi is him.
But I have a wrench I'm going to throw into all of this. I know you guys are not going to be happy with this, and people probably listening are going to roll their eyes. But I don't want to do this, but I feel like we have to. What about Smash Brothers? I mean, in a way, that is a big ass fighting game.
It
There's
is.
no way there's no Smash
It is.
Brother character.
It's
I know
the
as much
second.
people hate it
I want to say it's the
because they don't look at it
second.
as a fighting game, but technically, with how many people grew up playing Smash and how massive it is around
It's the
the
second
world,
best fighting game of all time,
I feel like
or
you have
second
to
best selling fighting
one
game.
of the characters in here, even though the characters in Smash aren't even fighting game characters, but even though the new dude Smash is so big, as a matter of fact, that in the newest Smash game, they have Ryu, they have Ken, they have Kazuya, they have like characters from other fighting games. To how big it is, so a Smash character has to be in this. That does.
The only reason I wouldn't include games like Smash Brothers or Marvel vs. Capcom or Marvel Dokkan or Dragon Ball Fighters or Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, the only reason I wouldn't include any of those characters is because when you any of those games is because when you think of those games, yes, there are fighting games and there are great fighting games, but for the most part, you're playing those games because you want to play those characters that you recognize from a different franchise. So with Smash Brothers, yes, you might like Smash Brothers because of the gameplay, and the gameplay is great, but you originally wanted to play Smash Brothers because, oh, Mario's in Smash Brothers, and I get to play Mario against Pikachu. I get to fight Luigi against Samus. I get to fight Jigglypuff against Star Fox. You know what I mean? So like, and those are characters from different franchises that other people may be a fan of, and it just so happened to bring people into that particular franchise because they wanted to play with their favorite characters from the other franchise. So that's why you wouldn't typically, I wouldn't include that. Same thing with like Multiverses. Multiverses was very popular when it first came out. It eventually died, yes it did, but it was extremely popular when it first came out, and that's because you can pick Bugs Bunny and fight LeBron James. you can pick Shaggy and fight like the freaking Porky Pig. You know what I mean? Like So, or the fairy godparents, or like just any of those other WB characters. That's what made that game so popular. And it's the same thing with like the Dragon Ball and the fight in the Naruto games. Like people play the Dragon Ball games because they want to play Goku. Like they watch Goku in the Dragon Ball series, the Dragon Ball animated series, or even the manga, and they want to play as Goku or Vegeta or Gohan or Piccolo. Same thing with Naruto. They want to play the Ultimate Ninja Storm games because they want to play as Sasuke, Naruto. They want to play as Itachi or one of the Akatsuki members or Kakashi. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't really include them because yes, granted they are fighting games, and same thing with like the Marvel games, like Marvel Tokon or Marvel versus Capcom. Like people play those games because they want to play as Wolverine. Mind you, Marvel as a company has been around for the past 75, almost 100 years now. Almost 100 years now. So that's a legacy of people who grew up watching Captain America for the past 75 years or so, reading him in comic books, watching him in cartoons, watching him in movies and in TV shows and stuff like that. And yes, now that he's in a video game, they want to play as him, even if that video game is a fighting video game. So stuff like Marvel vs. Tokon or Marvel vs. Capcom doesn't really count, in my opinion, because they're taking people from other IPs, and that's what's drawing people to those IPs. Now, what's keeping those people into those IPs is the fact that, you know, people just enjoy those games. Those games are actually really fun. Like Dragon Ball Fighters is a really good fighting game. Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm is a really good fighting game. I won't say Marvel Tokon because I never played that, but Marvel vs. Capcom, very good fighting game. You do have the Smash Brothers and even the multiverses and stuff like that, which are really good fighting games. But what draws people into those fighting games is the fact that there are characters within those fighting games, IPs within those fighting games that are from other IPs that are more recognizable. So that's why I wouldn't include it. Now, if they want to go ahead and include something like a Brawlhalla, I won't say anything about that because Brawlhalla is its own fighting game. Yes, it's very similar to Smash Brothers, but Brawlhalla's at the end of the day is its original IP. Like people aren't going to Brawlhalla's because there's a recognizable character from a different franchise that they know and they want to play in Brawlhalla's. Nah, Brawlhalla's built this shit up from the ground up without using any sort of like recognizable characters or whatnot. So if they want to use that, that's a different story. But outside of that, like if it's a character that's from a different franchise, I wouldn't include it. I wouldn't include it at all.
No way Smash is not top 3 or top 4.
I don't know who the fuck I would put in.
Smash is definitely top 3. Definitely top 3, top 4. The Smash is definitely top 3, top 4. I wouldn't put it on here for the simple fact that, like, who would you put? The only person you would put is Mario, because Mario is one of the most recognizable faces in Smash Brothers. But that's because Mario is one of the most recognized faces in gaming, period. Like, Mario wouldn't be in the fighting game Mount Rushmore. Mario would be in the video game Mount Rushmore, period. Video games encompassing all games. And that's why he would immediately make it to the fighting game Mount Rushmore, because he's going to be in the gaming Mount Rushmore. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't beat. It's like Sonic the Hedgehog. Like Sonic the Hedgehog is also in Smash Brothers. You know, I think he's also in Smash Brothers. So like Sonic the Hedgehog is also in the gaming Mount Rushmore of video games. So those are two of the most iconic video game characters of all time. So yes, Pikachu is also up there, but Pikachu's from anime. You know what I mean? Pikachu's from anime and from the Game Boy series or the Game Boy handheld series. So yeah, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't put Smash Brothers on there only for that reason. Like not because Smash Brothers is a bad game. Like Smash Brothers, in terms of a fighting game, is in the Mount Rushmore. In terms of like iconic characters within it, I wouldn't put them because those kind of characters are actually from other franchises outside of a fighting game genre. You know what I mean? So, but if they want to use Brawlhalla, that's a different story because Brawlhalla is like Smash Brothers, but they have its own unique characters.
Fighting game though.
But see that's the drama. I consider it a
That's the thing.
fighting game because the whole point of the game is you need to beat the shit out of your
Just to
opponent
beat up the other
and,
person.
Beat 'em up,
and
though.
kill them.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
that's-
the way it's designed is you're still playing against like another person. It's not like a beat 'em up like you and a friends versus AI. You're trying to beat the
It's
level.
not like a Double Dragon beat up.
Yeah, or what's
that's
it
true.
called? World Warriors. It's more like you're playing against other people. Like that's the whole point of the game. You have to beat your
Who the
friends
hell
up.
would I put on? Who would I put on that?
I want to say Mario, but when I think of Mario, I don't not think fighting game characters. But I feel like he'd be the most
No.
popular.
No, I don't think I would do it. I mean, Mario because Mario's Mario, but
Yeah, Mario's like his own big thing. For him to be on here, it'd be so ugly. Even though he's the face of Smash in a way. At Pikachu, but then Pikachu has his whole thing with Pokemon. That's a whole nother thing. You
yeah,
can't really take the most popular Smash characters because they already have their own massive franchise. That's why it's like a whole wrench into this discussion. That it's like it is a fighting game, but then it's big for reasons they're big because they're not actually fighting game characters. They're their own franchise. So it's very tricky.
I mean, I can't go
Wouldn't
with
it-
I
wouldn't
can't
it
go
be
with Jiggly.
Bowser.
Bowser's from Mario.
Wouldn't it be Bowser?
Yeah, but he's part of
Yeah,
the
but-
Mario franchise.
Okay, he's
But theoretically,
though,
realistically, every character is from something else.
Except for
Yes,
the
man.
fighting game characters like Ryu and Ken and Kazuya that they have now in Smash Bros.
Yeah, but my point is, every Nintendo character is from a Nintendo game.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
why it's
Ice
weird.
Climbers.
It's almost like let's say they made a big fighting game one day, right? And this big fighting game has characters from Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. It's like all stars like that. Would you be able to put that in a fighting game around March more, even though that's one of the most popular fighting games that so many people bought and played? Maybe we just exclude Smash, even though it seems wrong to exclude it. It just feels like it doesn't.
I would have to exclude it. I hate to say that because again, it is a fighting game. If I was to put, I mean, I guess just for the sake of putting somebody on the face of the game to get it onto Mount Rushmore, you would have to go with Mario.
Yeah, because he's like the face of it. Because Smash 64, when they first released it, he was on the box art. Him and
You know,
Pikachu.
you can't. I mean, you could do Jigglypuff maybe,
That would make
Jigglypuff.
people mad.
but that would make people mad.
People
Exactly.
hate that character in the game, and I don't think she's more popular than Pikachu.
He's not.
Yeah, I don't know. Fucking the dog from Duck Hunt.
Oh, I forget he's in there too. Well, okay, if we can't include Smash, let's just exclude it. And what would be the fourth most popular fighting game around the world character to include?
And I already spoke on this. The fourth most popular character around the world is Kasumi. It would be Kasumi. She's, I would say, even though she's not from the fourth or fifth or even sixth or seventh most popular fighting game, well, she kind of is actually. If you eliminate a lot of the other ones, like she kind of is, and she is. She's probably the second most recognizable fighting game female. You know what I mean? So let's look at this again. So if you look at like Soul Calibur, like I play Soul Calibur. I've played Soul Calibur. I'm not the biggest Soul Calibur fan, honestly speaking. But like if you eliminate some of these, like let's say we eliminate Smash Brothers because they don't have any like original fighting game characters. Most of their characters, all of their characters, are from other more popular franchises. You have Dragon Ball Fighters, that's an anime that's coming from manga and anime and stuff like that. You have Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. You got to eliminate that because that's an anime / manga. You have Marvel vs. Capcom. You got to eliminate that because it's Capcom characters, which are from other more popular franchises, as well as Marvel characters, which is from, comic books / cartoons and TV shows and all that stuff. The next one up is Dead or Alive. It's Dead or Alive. Unless there's somebody from Soul Calibur that is more recognizable than Kasumi from Dead or Alive, which I don't know of any. But then again, I don't really like Soul Calibur, so I don't really play Soul Calibur like that. Maybe there is somebody in Soul Calibur that's far more recognizable than Kasumi, but from my perspective, like next runner up is Kasumi from Dead or Alive, because that's the next most popular or best selling fighting game. But the FGC doesn't think like that. Like the FGC is thinking shit that is like not even on the list of best selling fighting games. Like well, Guilty Gear is up there, but Guilty Gear is at 5.7 million. They're over here thinking about like King of Fighters, Guilty Gear. They're thinking about like Killer Instinct and Blaze Blue and stuff like that. They ain't even thinking about something like Dead or Alive, which is a more popular fighting game than any of those games they're about to talk about. So yeah, like the FGC is just so far out of touch, bro. They're out of touch with the casuals.
That's a tough one.
Let me see. So
You have Guilty Gear, Killer Instinct, Virtua Fighter, Samurai
have to go with-
Showdown.
I think
King
I'd
of
have to
Fighters.
go with. I think I'd have to go with KI.
So I mean, you heard everything he said. He said Killer Instinct, Guilty Gear, Virtual Fighters. I don't know if he mentioned like Blaze Blue or whatever, but like Dead or Alive outsells all of those games. So
Baby is the fourth.
What about
What about
Marvel
Virtual
vs.
Fighter?
and I want to say King of Fighters is on like their 12th game, and as a franchise, I want to say Dead or Alive it still
Marvel
outsold
versus-
them.
I don't know. I don't know if it
Was
would
that
get
game-
that.
wait, Was that game big worldwide, Marvel's Capcom, or was it just a
No, it's just the
USA
States.
thing? Okay.
It's a USA thing.
Or wasn't it big in Japan too?
Not really. I mean, it had
Oh.
some people, but not as big as here.
Oh, it's huge here. That was crazy.
Yeah, I would go Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, and the SNK franchise. So I'd have to go with Fatal Fury and go with I mean, we could go with Geese because he's another bad guy.
Is he like the biggest? I guess most popular character.
No, because you would get what's his name, Terry Bogard.
Oh, speaking of Terry, he's also in the new Smash too.
Yep.
I forgot about that. He's also in Smash.
So Terry would be,
Yeah, he has to be the face then of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
and it would be.
They're talking about Terry Bogard from, what was it, King of Fighters? Yeah, it's a very popular character, but I promise you there's more people who will recognize Kasumi than they would Terry Bogard. Well, most likely. That's actually hard to say now that, because they say that he's in other franchises. Like, for example, Kasumi is not in any other franchise that I'm aware of. It's not like she's in like Street Fighter or Tekken or anything like that. Whereas Terry Bogard, he's in Street Fighter 6. So, and Street Fighter 6 has sold over 6 million. Then you also have Ultimate Smash Brothers. He's in Ultimate Smash Brothers as well, which that has sold over 35 million. So there might actually be more people that would recognize somebody like a Terry Bogard over Kasumi. But that's only because he's in other more popular franchises. If you were to put Kasumi in like Smash Brothers or Mortal Kombat or Tekken or Street Fighter, it's gonna be Kasumi. Like, it's gonna be Kasumi.
Terry, his brother, and Joe Higashi were like the three originals. But Geese would have to get the mention as well because he was like the ultimate bad guy. But I would go with Terry for number 4 spot.
Yeah, and another funny thing, and again, I don't know if bringing this game up is bad or not, but similar in the Smash thing, how I brought up Smash, which is a wrench, Dragon Ball has a huge audience behind it with fighting games. All the Dragon Ball games sell like hotcakes. So again,
the Dragon Ball games do sell very well, and the Dragon Ball games has been out since the 90s too, with Dragon Ball GT Final Bout. And then you had the Dragon Ball Budokai and Budokai Tenkaichis and stuff like that. But it's coming off of anime. People are playing those fighting games because they want to play as Goku, because they seen Goku fight Frieza in the cartoon. You know what I mean? So like,
consider Dragon Ball to be included in this. It's not a fighting game, but it sells like the most, or like top 3 the most in fighting games. So do you?
It is kind of a fighting game, though. No.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, when I think of Dragon Ball Z, I think of like the show, the anime, not the fighting game. So
I
I
get
guess
you.
yeah, like, but in a way it is. It's like Smash in that it's one of the most sold and played fighting games. So do you include Goku on this, or does that is that like a Smash U where it's like, well, it's more so Goku because of his brand and everything, like Mario is with his brand. You can't really include them in this.
I think that and Smash kind of fall under the same. Like that would they would have to have their own separate Mount Rushmore, I guess. You know, because if we're talking about original games and franchises and the characters that are standout characters, those are characters and franchises that were based off of previous characters already.
Yeah, so I guess it would be the way to say franchises that started off as fighting games that became big because they were a fighting game, not
Yes.
how it became like Dragon Ball or Smash Brothers, how they became big fighting games not because they were a fighting game, but because they had, popular characters that people loved.
So yeah, so for the number 4 spot, I'd have to give it to. Do I want to give it to Ki?
It's tough. I think between KI, King of Fighters.
No, I'm going to give it to Ki instead of the King of Fighters. King of Fighters will be after it.
Now,
Killer
do you
Instinct
think
have the number 4 spot.
now do you think worldwide would KI be more known or King of Fighters?
King of Fighters.
Yeah, not KI.
That's why I'm saying the Mount Rushmore gets kind of skewed when you start splitting hairs about what's popular worldwide versus sales, overall, and what's popular in what country. Because KOF and all of their SNK franchise outside of the States, especially in South America, and Central America, is through the roof. That might even.
I think King of Fighters didn't even sell that great in USA. I think games like Virtua Fighter sold more actually.
And VF sold, but VF sold primarily because of the esports push with it. If not, it's kind of been a dead franchise since 5, and 5 didn't do that well.
Yeah, I'm speaking more from like a console mindset because I remember a lot of my friends had Virtua Fighter on consoles just like they had Tekken or MK and games like that.
So I put VF at like number 5, 6 spot is what I was alluding to. So you had Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. What was the third one? Tekken. Then I'd have to go with the KOF franchise if we're talking worldwide popularity.
What are you talking about? Jesus
after that,
Christ.
Difficult because of the regions.
Worldwide popularity, you're gonna go with KOF over like Dead or Alive or even Virtual Fighter? Come on, bro. Come on. That's the FGC, bro. They're so ignorant, man. They're in their bubble. They're the vocal minority. They really are the vocal minority. Because like Virtual Fighter and Dead or Alive are more popular than KOF. Like, granted, you have like I think Kerry Bogart is from KOF, and he's popular because he's in other gaming franchises like Smash Brothers and Street Fighter. But KOF as a franchise isn't more popular than like Virtual Fighter or Dead or Alive, bro. It's just not.
So the first 3 are confirmed everywhere. The next ones, they have to be kind of region based.
It's difficult because honestly, if you were to ask me, "Hey, Rio, what's the most popular game and fighting game in Australia?" I have literally no idea. I don't know what's the.
I won't even say it's region based because I want to say Dead or Alive and Virtual Fighter are. It may be a toss up between those two. I think Kasumi is the more recognizable, but in terms of they're close enough in sales for it to be like a toss up of which game is actually more popular. Because like Dead or Alive has sold more than Virtual Fighter, but at the same time, Dead or Alive it's on its 6th iteration, whereas Virtual Fighter is only on its 5th iteration. Even though Virtual Fighter actually came out before Dead or Alive, it's one of the earliest 3D fighting games, but there's only been 5 Virtual Fighter games. You know what I mean? even though they got a bunch of like re-releases and stuff like that. Whereas there is six Dead or Alive games, and they're working on the 7th one right now. So I mean, it could be that that's the reason why it has more sales. So in terms of relevance and what game might be more popular, it might be a toss up between Dead or Alive. But I will say, if you put anybody from Virtual Fighter with Kasumi from Dead or Alive, people are gonna recognize Kasumi over anybody from Virtual Fighter. So, as well as I want to say maybe KOF, with the exception of maybe Terry Bogard, because Terry Bogard is in like Street Fighter and Smash Brothers.
Most popular in Russia or Africa or Middle East or anywhere. Like, I don't know. It could be, for all we know, it could be like an obscure fighting game.
I think in Russia is Tekken. I think.
Isn't Street Fighter very
100%
big in Russia though?
Street Fighter's big everywhere. Street Fighter's big everywhere.
Street Fighter's big everywhere. Yeah. Yeah. For example, like I'm in Stockholm. There's only one FGC thing. It's at a place called Dragon's Lair, and it's there's no MK at all. They don't even mention it. It's always Street Fighter, Guilty Gear. There's like some other small games, but there's no MK. I brought up because Alex Smith told me, he's like, you should go to the local in Stockholm. I'm like, dude, I don't know anything. How do you know about all this stuff? He's like, well, I compete everywhere. And I was like, all right. So I got into their Discord, and I was like, you guys play MK? They're like, no. There was like a one-word discussion. Like, no.
Ask them if they play Mortal Kombat Deception. I guarantee you some of them will say they do. No, I'm joking. They're not. But, dude, you mentioned Guilty Gear. I forgot about that. That's another game that's been getting very popular lately. Guilty Gear has been kind of exploded with the
way
Guilty
more
Gear
popular
Strive.
than MK is.
What?
So it's more popular than Mortal Kombat right now?
What?
Yeah, because I was bringing this up before.
Shut up. Shut up. Oh my God. I don't mean to be disrespectful, bro, but what are you talking about? Guilty Gear is more popular. What?
The reason why people are also beating on MK, like you're saying they should, you know how that your tweet, people, the MK hate, we don't have a game right now. Oh, this is the best time for people to come out and just bash MK.
Oh, I'm curious about something. I'm curious. Like, Steam isn't really reflective of like Mortal Kombat numbers, but in terms of MK11, we're about 15. In terms of MK1, it's about 13. He said Guilty Gear. Where's Guilty Gear at? I'm just curious. Guilty Gear. I don't know which was the newest one. This is the most expensive, so I'm gonna go with Strive. Unity Hub. What are they talking about? Like, even on Steam, which Mortal Kombat is not even known to be like a PC type game. Like, Mortal Kombat 11 is far more popular on console. Far more popular on console. Like, on Steam, you have what, about 15,000 people playing, Guilty Gear Strive, which I'm assuming is the newest one now. Hold on, let me try to confirm that real quick. So this is 2021. I don't know if there's a newer one outside of this one. Yeah, I don't know if there's like a newer Guilty Gear out, but you have Guilty Gear Strive on Steam with like 15,000 people. You go to Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11's community hub, it has more people playing. It's about the same. Roughly, honestly speaking, it's about the same. But it's more. And this is Mortal Kombat 11, which came out in 2019, which is actually 2 years older than the Guilty Gear Strive game that I just looked up. So what are they? Oh my God! Like the FGC is.
You don't have a game. There's no game.
What are they talking about, bro?
Yeah, I mean, the thing
what are they talking about?
The thing with MK1 is that it's so polarizing, because I've been streaming it lately, and sometimes people come to my stream to tell me how much they hate the game and think it's bad, and they wish I was streaming any other game but MK1.
Especially when we don't have a game. That's why they do it.
There's a lot of strong hate behind the game. I don't think the game is as bad as people think, but I can definitely see why they hate it.
What are they talk? Guilty Gear is more popular than Mortal Kombat. Meanwhile, I go to Steam, right? Mind you, Mortal Kombat's more of a console game. I go to Steam, and Guilty Gear is not even being played more on Steam than Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11. Come on now,
annoying
bro.
aspects to it. But I
It's
guess
easy to troll.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I guess this is the reason why.
Shit, stuff like this is why I don't respect the FGC. Stuff like this is why, because they don't know. They don't know. They just going by what the vocal minority is talking about. Like they don't do the research themselves. Like how hard was that I just did? Like how that took me a minute. That took me a minute to literally go online and look up to see which game is being played more. It took me a minute to do that. A minute. Like that's why you can't respect the FGC, bro. Because they just go based off of the vocal minority. They go about hearsay. A lot of people talking about Guilty Gear right now, but that's because the silent majority are too busy enjoying their fighting game.
There was a lot of drama with this Mount Rushmore post because a lot of people looked at it and they're like, why is MK on there? Like, you guys don't even like your own game, MK1. Why is there a spot there? And I feel like that's causing a lot of the issues where people were.
Well, that's going to cause issues because the simple fact is, if you're putting a Mount Rushmore, you're supposed to be considering from inception of MK192 up to present day.
I agree, but a lot of the FGC has a lot of new faces and new players that join every year. So I feel like a lot of the new crowd is like, they look at MK just for MK1 because they don't, I guess they didn't follow MK before that, or maybe they were too young to understand. So when they look at MK game, they just look at it from the FGC bubble as a fighting game that's considered a joke, broken. They usually need a million patches to get things right. And the FGC doesn't respect this. So when they look at a post like this, they're like, why is your fighting game on there when in the FGC people don't really like your game like that? Like, your game's not even at Evo, you know, they continually throw shots. So you have to look at it. I guess you have to factor in the FGC bubble. Like, how big is Mortal Kombat in the fighting game community aspect around the world?
All right, look at this. I just logged into that Discord of the Sweden one.
Let me check that real quick.
Games. Guilty Gear, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, and 2K XO. MK, not even mentioned. I went back months of all their, and I'm not saying this is what's Europe, we're tiny, but I'm just saying, like, MK is even mentioned anywhere in here. And these are fighting game players. These are top guys out here who are playing in this, because I found out about this through Alex, like I said. So it's not some, like, random local. It's, like, probably the best in Stockholm. They go here, and there's no MK. So MK's always been, it's always kind of been like the stepchild, but it has the advertising. That Jimmy can tell you about how much they do and push the game sales and stuff. We were talking about that before. MK definitely has the sales way, the shock value.
I think MK is big enough to definitely be on this list. I can see why a lot of people in these tweets are angry about it because they don't respect it through the FGC view of things. But if you look outside the FGC, I think you have to include Mortal Kombat to be one of the most
you gotta, if you're gonna look at a list like this, you have to look at it without fucking fogged up glasses, because if you're looking at it in hindsight,
so Brawl is up there. Brawl is one of the more played fighting games.
These games are gonna be laughed at, especially when you're looking at it throughout different UFC, different generations of it. We're gonna brag about the fucking Street Fighter, the X shit, or the Tekken Cross Street Fighter, shit like that. You kind of gotta kind of set a set of rules and boundaries for it, which is contrary to belief in the FGC universe, game sales matter. Without game sales, there's never.
You have Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 1's up there.
Nobody's gonna make a game so horrible and then come out with a sequel to it.
Fight Night,
okay,
really?
MK has to be on the Mount Rushmore, of course, but the fact that we don't have a game right now is why you're getting the MK haters saying all
Mortal
this.
Kombat
Of
11's up
course,
there too.
MK has to be
Now this
on
isn't
that
in
list
any
because it's
particular
one of those
order.
staple
Even
games.
Granted,
if there was a game that you still had
like this joint isn't in any particular order, but the fact that it's up here, meaning that it's one of the more played games on Xbox.
It doesn't.
Street Fighter still has
I
a
don't
game.
play it.
Street Fighter still has a game now.
You have Dragon Ball Spark and Zero.
They're just perfect at everything they do.
My Hero.
You know that.
Have the My Hero game.
I mean, the hate for Mortal Kombat has nothing to do with.
You have MKX. Let's go, making a comeback. Let's see what else.
When we don't have something or when we're in a low point.
The thing regarding Street Fighter, I mean, it definitely gets roasted. I even have people tell me that they don't like the gameplay, some stuff Street Fighter 6. However, globally around the world, I think most people would probably, I guess accept Street Fighter 6 for what it is to want to play competitively and to invest time into it. Whereas usually when it comes to Mortal Kombat games, people tend to check out. There's not like giant, massive prize pots, It's kind of like their, I guess, fuel or drive to continue playing Mortal Kombat games. Because if you don't have big money on the line, I guess a lot of people just don't like tolerating the games for what they are. It's for some reason, it's very hard to get people to sit down and play Mortal Kombat for fun, not for a paycheck, not to get a salary from your sponsor, but just to sit down and play the game for fun on your free time.
I'm sorry, Rio. Excuse me? It's hard to find people to play Mortal Kombat for fun on their free time when Mortal Kombat is one of the most played fighting games right now. What? Mortal Kombat is one of the most played fighting games right now. People aren't playing it for money. People are just playing it for the joy of playing Mortal Kombat. All right.
There's a lot of people that have a problem with that. They don't find the games enjoyable to play for fun.
It's Cap. That's Cap.
We know are highly competitive, so they play Street Fighter. So it's like they can actually, if they're good, they can actually, someone will know them. MK, there's how many people are amazing at it who are known. They'd rather play Street Fighter. There's more of a pat on the back with Street Fighter if you get good. MK's whatever. So that's my take.
So I mean, at this point, we got Ryu, Scorpion,
Hachi.
What about Raiden?
I think Sub-Zero is more popular than Raiden.
Yeah.
Raiden was awesome.
Scorpion is the most popular. He's.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah. To be fair, we wanted to include one character from each franchise, so you can't have like two Street Fighter characters, two MK characters.
It's definitely Scorpion. Definitely Scorpion.
Then I would go with for the number 4 spot. I guess we go with Terry from Fatal Fury, and then for the number 5 spot, I guess Jago from Killer Instinct.
Spinal.
Nah, I don't think Spinal.
But see, like the other 3D fighters like Soul Calibur and Virtua Fighter, you think?
Top 100 most played Xbox games in 2025. Without any further ado, here's the whole table. Here are the top 100 Xbox games of Series X, S, 1, and the Game Pass for the year of 2025, for the whole year of 2025.
Yeah.
That was.
Oh shit, Claire Obscure is up there. Marvel Rivals top 10.
Which was hype.
Battlefield beat out Roblox. Let's go.
Remember that before it turned into Soul Calibur? But that was big on consoles. Like everyone on console had a Soul
Starfront
Calibur.
2 is up there? Holy crap.
Definitely MK. Definitely Street Fighter.
Apex is down to 25? Wow, that's not good.
Fighters were more popular back then during the console era, but now
Here's a
they're
war.
back, but it's really only Tekken.
Yeah.
Arc Raiders 34? I thought that was more popular. At least on PC, Arc Raiders is more, but Casual Gamers is on console, and they're playing Battlefield more than Arc Raiders.
Who the fuck would you make their staple? Akira? Which is basically the wannabe Ryu, but it's like he wasn't that popular. Like, I don't know, like there was no standout VF character. Maybe Shun,
Just looking for a fighting game, period.
Or
you know,
God,
but that didn't
whatever his
come
name
out
is.
until VF3.
Mortal Kombat 11.
Guy, he's the best.
Mortal Kombat 11's number 75.
Great.
75 most played Xbox game in 2025.
Geo something.
And that's the first, outside of the UFC joint,
But he came out
that's the
later.
first fighting game we were coming
No,
across.
he came out later. He came out after 3.
Let's see if there's any others on
You
here.
know, but now, you know, trying to look at staple characters, I guess Jackie was the wannabe Ken. Akira was the wannabe Ryu. Sarah was the wannabe Chun-Li. Wolf was the wannabe King or Zangief. The fucking black dude, what was his name?
That was a bit racist.
Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Like the fucking black dude.
You know, then you had Pi and Lao. And
To be honest, I would say the face would have to be like you said. It would be probably Akira, the Ryu, because
be
he's
Akira,
like usually
yeah.
on the box art and stuff.
yeah,
So he
So I
kind of
would
is
go
like,
with-
yeah, he's like the face of the game in that way.
but the fact that they were trying to
Yeah, like there's not even another fighting game up here.
image of like
There's not even, like, if you look at the top 100 most played games on Xbox for the year of 2025, just last year alone, Mortal Kombat 11 is the only, outside of UFC games, Mortal Kombat's the only fighting game up there. So Mortal Kombat 11 in particular is being played more than, and that's down from 68, by the way, is being played more than Mortal Kombat 1, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Dragon Ball Fighters, Naruto versus Boruto, like any other game they talking about. Guilty Gear, Dead or Alive, Virtual Fighter, like Mortal Kombat 11 is being played more than any of those games. So what are they talking about?
the younger new upcomers. I
The
could actually still
casuals?
say
They
Jackie.
talking about the casuals
Because he was
aren't
that
playing
little
Mortal Kombat. The
arrogant-
casuals
yeah,
are the
he
one
wanted
keeping Mortal
to.
Kombat 11 alive.
But yeah, I'd go with Akira. So that's the number 5 spot. Or 6.
This is very tough.
Yeah, and you know what's weird? I see. Growing up, I was more of like a Tekken Soul Calibur person. So, to me, I feel like Soul Calibur would have the edge of popularity. But I know Soul Calibur tried doing a new game recently, like 5 or so years ago, and it wasn't very well received. Like it didn't last long in FGC. But I feel
No,
like Soul Calibur may be more popular than at least to me, than Virtua Fighter. I feel like more people had that or know about it. Plus,
Probably,
you
yeah, I
had crossover
could go with-
characters like Yoshimitsu, and then you had Link from Nintendo who was in it, which got a lot of attention to those games.
And then Darth Vader.
Yeah, exactly, and Yoda. So I mean, Soul Calibur had some iconic guest characters. At one point, Soul
definitely.
Calibur was the shit. Like it was popular.
Trying to think.
I've always loved that game.
Yeah, but who would be the face of Soul Calibur? I personally like Nightmare.
Gotta be Yoshimitsu.
Nobody would be the face of Soul Calibur. Like if you have to think about that, then it's nobody. One person I don't have to think about is Kasumi from Dead or Alive. When you think of Dead or Alive, Kasumi is hands down the face of Dead or Alive. So, yes.
Yeah, but Yoshimitsu
No.
Tekken to me. He's Tekken to me.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I consider Yoshimitsu
They don't even know who the popular character, or the face of Soul Calibur is. They don't even know who that is. It's the same thing with Virtual Fighter. If you think of Virtual Fighter, you wouldn't even be able to think of like who's the face of Virtual Fighter.
Tekken.
What the fuck would I make? Because I would go. I mean, Siegfried was before Nightmare.
Yeah, I thought Nightmare looked cool. I thought Valdo was funny.
Oh, Valdo, yeah.
Cervantes, the pirate guy with the swords,
Yeah, he was good.
which people used to spam. I'm talking about like friends.
Cervantes, whatever his name is. Oh, he was great. I love that game. That game was fun.
Yeah, who would you say the face? You know, it's weird. Now that you're mentioning it, the face of Virtual, I mean, not Virtual, Soul Calibur. I think of characters like Yoshimitsu, Darth Vader, Link, but those aren't actually Soul Calibur characters.
That's
Probably
crazy.
Nightmare.
That's crazy. That's crazy. When your fighting game franchise's most recognizable characters are characters from other franchises. That's crazy. Yosumitsu, Tekken. Darth Vader, Star Wars. Yoda, Star Wars. Link, Zelda. What?
Mitsurugi, yes. That's the character. That's the one. Yep.
It was the samurai that fought against bullets.
Yep, that's the one. It's
But
Mitsurugi for sure.
But Siegfried actually won it.
Wasn't he in Soul Edge 2, the first one?
Who?
Mitsuru. He was in Soul Edge, right?
He's in all of them.
Yeah, but I'm saying before it became like Soul Calibur, he was one of the original characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I guess maybe he would be the face. But do you guys agree? Do you think Soul Calibur should be number 4, or do you think Virtua Fighter should be over it, or KI? I was just mentioning Soul Calibur to me because I remember in the console area, like everyone had it.
Well, it depends if it's arcade or not. I mean, there was in the arcade too, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. These are really tough. This is really tough questions. It's all region based and what we.
Wait, now I wonder. Wait, was Yoshimitsu in Tekken first or Soul Calibur? Because he was there in the very first games too, wasn't he? Yoshimitsu.
Yo, it's crazy to me that they're naming all of these games and not one of them, out of the 3 people here, not one of them even mentioned Dead or Alive. That's crazy to me. Even though Dead or Alive outsells all of these games that they're talking about. That's crazy.
I'm trying to look back and I swear I'm thinking maybe
Tekken, dude. He was first in Tekken. Has to be. Gotta be.
Yeah, I don't remember. Someone will have to Google it and tell us.
I think he was in both at the same time.
Gotta be Tekken. It's very. It's the same years pretty much. So
yeah, because I remember him being in the old Soul Calibur game, the Soul Calibur games on console. But now I'm like, wait a minute, was he in Soul Calibur first or Tekken? Because I like playing him in Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur did interesting stuff. They had different characters released for different systems and stuff too, which was kind of cool.
I like playing Yoshimitsu and Nightmare, but obviously I love playing Darth Vader.
That game was fun. Now I think about that game was fun.
Yeah,
does anybody still play that?
I don't. Soul Calibur's kind of like disappeared from the PC. It used to be, like I said, he used to be big there in the consoles.
He was first in Tekken.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So he was a guest character, I guess, over Tekken that they wanted to include. Then they kept as like a staple because he has a weapon. He's one of the few Tekken characters. Although I know now it's not like that anymore. In Tekken 6, you have people fighting with bazookas and guns and stuff, but he was one of the original characters that would use weapons, whereas most of the cast would use their hands.
Yes.
So that's why he was. They were like, we'd probably be a good fit for Soul Calibur.
Suicide move. That was awesome.
Yeah, when you do the what is it called, the Harakiri into them.
Yeah, it's so awesome. Oh, that game was fun.
Yeah, so would you guys? So if you had to finalize the Mount Rushmore in your opinion, would you say it would be 1 Ryu, 2 Scorpion, 3 Hayachi or Kazuya? I think Kazuya has a slight edge, and 4, I guess, would be
Terry.
Yeah, Akira. I mean, not I'm thinking of Virtua Fighter.
Terry Bogart.
Oh, Terry. Okay, yeah, King of Fighters.
Yeah, definitely Terry. Gotta be there. KOF is definitely up there.
And then after that, it would be Akira. Actually,
it's so kind of a little popular than Virtua Fighter.
Go with Akira. I'd have to go with Akira over Soul Calibur, I think, because VF was one of the starting fighting games. It was always the number 4. The pecking order's always been Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, and then KOF games, and then it would be. See, but it's weird though, because it's like Killer
Region based.
Instinct. Killer Instinct was more popular in the arcade era,
Oh yeah, it was huge.
Mm-hmm.
so it's like
But it was
it's hard.
huge here. We have no idea if it was big anywhere else. It was huge in the US. It was every
Yeah,
arcade.
it might
You
be
know
like a
that.
Mortal Kombat thing when Mortal Kombat was big in USA, but not that crazy
Yeah,
outside it.
and more of a reason I would go with VF then, because
Mhm.
VF was popular worldwide.
Wasn't Soul Calibur also played worldwide, or it released
I think
everywhere?
it
Right? It
was.
wasn't just
I think it
USA.
was. Yes.
It released everywhere.
But I think
again,
Virtual Fighter
it's a
was more
Japanese
popular.
company, so
Because
it
Virtual
was
Fighter was like
popular
one
in
of
Japan.
the first 3D fighting games.
But
If
they made the
I'm
mistake
not
of doing
mistaken,
Tekken
Virtual
and that
Fighter
at the same
precedes
time,
Tekken.
which basically pulled one from the other.
I feel like Tekken stole the spotlight.
It
Yeah.
did. It stole the spotlight from Virtual Fighter.
So we got Street Fighter, MK, Tekken, KOF, and then the number 5 spot. I guess I could go with. Yeah, I gotta go with VF. Number 6 spot, I would go with, I think, Soul Calibur series.
It's crazy to me.
And
Nobody
then the number
mentions Dead or
7, I would go
Alive.
with Killer Instinct.
He went 7. He went 7, and not one of them mentioned Dead or Alive.
I think before
That's
KI was more
crazy.
popular, but now Guilty Gear has gotten really big.
Guilty
It's got
Gear.
its own big community now in a lot of areas.
Yeah, but Guilty Gear's been around for 100 years, and it was
Yeah, I know.
it never
The
caught on.
Guilty Gear was always very niche because the game's very hard to play. But with Guilty Gear Strive is when it started becoming more mainstream. A lot of people started playing it. A lot of people stuck to it.
I wouldn't even put it on the map yet. I don't even know what their overall sales look like. I never really checked, but I mean, I know they're not in comparison to the top 5. They're not in that league yet. They might, eventually start taking some of them down, but for now, I don't see any anime games competing with the top 5 fucking kings of the block.
Yeah, that's excluding DBZ.
Yeah. I would give Guilty Gear like the number 8 spot, maybe.
You know what's crazy? It sounds like there's not that many fighting games, but there's actually a ton of fighting games. Like a lot of fighting games have been out. They come and go. Like over the past few decades, there's been so many fighting games that pop up, disappear. A bunch of different ones get made. They never become popular. They just fade into obscurity. You never hear of them again. But usually people think like, oh, there's barely any fighting games. Like they make it seem like there's only like one fighting game that was every few years. Dude, it's a lot. If you look at like the fighting games that come out, there's a lot of them. They just never gain traction.
Yeah, they never pan
they
out.
never go anywhere. I guess people just are less likely to want to try new fighting games and give them a shot. Like, do you see the whole thing that happened with 2XKO? They thought it was going to be huge. The people behind it, they made League of Legends, which is one of the most popular video games ever, has billions of players. They thought 2XKO would come out, a bunch of people would play it and would take over, but sadly, it ended up going the opposite of what they thought would happen. FTC just does not really care for that game.
And again, this is what happens when gamers think they could make games. Be a gamer, play a game, enjoy it. If you're not a game designer, don't try to make games. Because the thing with 2XKO is they tried to take what they felt was the best of all fighting games and smash it into one and make it easier to play, and it turned people off. And the free-to-play engine, while it sounds nice, is now you're basing your profit off of skins. And remember, you're talking FGC universe. The motherfuckers are broke already. So once they got the game for free, they're like, I don't need no skins. I got the game.
Yeah, plus people don't want to grind to unlock characters. They also don't like how the game released. It took years of development time, almost a decade, to come out with like 12 characters. And people are like,
I disagree with what he says about 2XKO. Gamers shouldn't be making games. They should stay in their lane and just be playing them. I disagree with that. I completely disagree with that. I feel Like if I was to make a game, and it's no facts. Like no, there is some facts. There are some cases in which gamers who are people who are fans of games who created games and they created really good games. Some are escaping me at the moment. I don't think there were any that were fighting. No, matter of fact, Mortal Kombat, like some of your fighting games now, like Mortal Kombat is gamers who were fans of the gaming industry that created like a good fighting game. But you also like things like Kenna Bridge of Spirits and stuff like that. But I completely disagree with that. Where 2KO is struggling at is that they're not appealing to the casual gamers. 2XKO is a game created by hardcore gamers for hardcore gamers. And that's why it's failing. Although it is free to play, and 2XKO is a good game. It is. It doesn't have the casual appeal it needs to be successful. It was the same thing with Killer Instinct. You've had a few people within the FGC who aided in making Killer Instinct 2013 or 2014. I can't remember when that game actually launched. Who gave advice and who aided in, creating Killer Instinct. And that game failed and flopped because the game didn't appeal enough to the casual market. You need to build your casual market before you can build your hardcore market, especially if you're a brand new fighting game like 2XKO. Yes, it's riding off of the League of Legends IP, but at the same time, it's a new fighting game. And if you're going to be a new fighting game, you have to have an easy barrier to entry, as well as enough casual content to keep the casual audience interested. 2XKO didn't go that way. They appealed to the hardcore, some of which are the same people that helped out with like Killer Instinct and stuff like that. They went ahead and got their advice. Like they were able to make a good game, even though Killer Instinct flopped. For some reason, they still went and, appealed to some and it got advice from some of those particular people because those people have more influence within the community for some reason, even though they proven that they can't create a successful fighting game, which is a catch-22 to me. And they went ahead and created 2XKO, which is struggling. It's not a bad game, I will say that, but it doesn't have that casual appeal. So with that being said, I'm about to play Zao Seed and some Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. So we're going to go ahead and end this video. We're already an hour in. I'll make a part 2 to this where we finish up the video. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Them young boys in the hood with big dreams of being superstars. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't, but you gotta work super hard. To the older man who feels his life is over cause he wasted it standing on corners. One thing I learned about the streets, it's never too late for a come up. I was told before that I couldn't do it. I remember being told by my own peeps not to rap, and singing in my hood wasn't popular, but I got respect for it cause I was a beast. Facts. If you got a dream, you gotta stay committed, you can get it, but you gotta be a beast, you can't slack for a minute. Remember this, if you don't remember nothing else, you gotta be relentless.